Right, just the other day I upgraded to Windows 11, and while there is some interesting functionality, and geeky types who know more about Windows than me can probably come up with really good reasons why it's good, it's okay. It's just that they did a couple of things that annoy me that are just a nuisance. Um, the lesser of the two is when you right click on a file or any empty space, instead of getting the full list of options, you get this shortened list which you can't seem to edit, for things like I'd never be sharing to Skype. Um, there's a bunch of other things I don't need in here. It does have the share option up here, but the share is limited to these things. It doesn't cover the full range of things like on my phone, for instance, which, yeah, I could set up a few email things here, but Bluetooth cannot be set up in here either. What you have to do is you have to go down to the show more options, and that brings up the old right click context menu so that you can then go send to Bluetooth. Um, it would be quite good if that was actually in here, and if you could um, edit this to get rid of the things you don't want and put in the things you do want, so that this here may show everything, but in this list you'd have just the ones you want. Open with, yeah, maybe I don't need the set as background, desktop as background, etc., etc. um, I don't need this. It would be quite handy to be able to move, where are we, send to and 7-zip into this area and get rid of a couple of these, like share to Skype, etc., etc. But I suppose this is what we're stuck with. It'd be good if you could change that. The other thing is the start menu. The bollocks to the start menu. First of all, I had adapted from Windows 7 to Windows 10 with the tile setup. I grouped a bunch of tiles. My tile menu came right the way out and filled up the screen, and I had it really super organized, and everything I wanted was there, so I hardly ever needed to go into the all apps option. This stupid crap is completely different. Um, First of all, if you put anything in here, it just shuffles everything else along. You can't group anything. Yes, you can put as much as you like in here, if you pin as much as you like in here if you want, but you can't group it and organize it into, for instance, Adobe, the two Adobe things, and Faststone and things like that. I would normally put in image editing folder or group, because that's how I think of things. I did find a workaround. I've put the most common things up here. Most of the things I use are down here, and most of the things that are not down here on the taskbar or up in here are generally things I can never remember the name of anyway. I just know them by their grouping, and when we go into here, finding them in here is a bit of a mission. But I found a bit of a workaround by, on my hard drive, on C drive here, I created this all shortcuts where I've done the grouping I had in Windows 10 into folders for a bunch of shortcuts, which means I can go to here, click on all shortcuts, bang, there we go. I got access now. Internet, okay, there's all the internet stuff. It's not perfect, but it's a workaround to have a better system than this. So in the top here is just the most essential stuff. And of course, Lightroom and Photoshop doesn't matter if they get pushed down a bit because they're down here. But yeah, had to do a workaround for that. And would have been good if they'd given you an option. Maybe give you this, but have a settings button somewhere just for the start menu that you can go in and go, give me back the tiles. So that when I pop this up, yes, you maybe have a short group here, but then you have the tile menu shoot out here for your groupings, and things like that. That would have been good, to be able to customize it a bit better than what it is. But yeah, I think the designers, developers at Windows were on some really funky drugs when they came up with this dumb idea. Or they'd fallen off their bikes on the way to work and damaged their brains. Because yeah, this is not ideal, and I'm hoping that at some point Microsoft might decide, like they did with Windows 8, and they came out with Windows 8.1 or something, where they changed the menu because the Windows 8 version was rubbish. Hopefully they'll do the same with this, that one of the regular updates in a few months will be some option to give you back the tiled grouping system, etc., etc. But we'll see. It's Windows we're talking about here, so they live in a flippin' fantasy land and don't live in reality, and or take any notice of what people actually want. But yeah, anyway, that's my opinion on Windows 11. Many other things in here aren't too bad. The fact that to go and set defaults to Chrome for a whole lot of stuff and a few other things, because Windows wanted me to default to different to their stuff, was a bit of a nuisance. And there are a few other things. This here hasn't really changed much. It looks different, but pretty much works the same. The quick options here, more or less the same. When you go in here, yeah, it's not too dissimilar to what we're used to, but you know, if you're going to run Windows 11, you're stuck with it. I was going to have to upgrade eventually sometime in the next year, so I thought I'd give it a crack once it popped up as an option. So, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, that's it. That's my opinion on Windows 11. It sucks.